check, are we live? We should be. Looks like it. Alright, before I'm gonna start with anything, I'm gonna share the stream in the Discord. Right. Oh. Go. Alright, that should be it. All said and done. Oh, we just hit new all-time highs. Okay. Well, that was what we were waiting for the whole day. Trading towards all-time highs. Let me get rid of this. This is of this morning. Well, if people watch the video, it was a perfect example of what I told that was gonna happen. We used this breaker block towards a new high. We did the same thing with this breaker block, used it to bring us towards new higher highs and higher lows. I wasn't there when New York opened, so I quickly want to see what happened there. Okay, took out a lot of liquidity from the lows. From there started coming up, slowly creeping toward all-time highs. Well, we called it nicely in the video of this morning. But right now there's not really anything to see on the Nasdaq. This is just waiting waiting until a setup forms, because we're at all-time highs. You never know what's gonna happen there. Let me quickly check something. If the stream quality is good. Looks fine. Okay, great. One more thing. Then I'm gonna hop into some stocks. There we go. Yeah, so Nasdaq all-time highs. We'll just have to wait if anything is gonna form tonight, but you never know at all-time highs. Let me just go over the stocks I went over all the last streams as well. So we are being updated on that. MicroStrategies tapped into another POI zone. This is pretty much your last POI zone / support zone if you look to the left, before we're gonna come towards these lows, and which I'm really interested to take out, because then you would put in a really nice bottom. just lows like these, if they get left behind, it isn't the cleanest. So this would be a really interesting place to look at in combination with your old range before MicroStrategies really blew up and Bitcoin, of course, went crazy. But right now we're also in a interesting zone. You can see I have this high to gain in my chart. This is the last high that brought you towards this low. So if we're gonna gain this high, their expected order flow on the 4 hour at least is a higher low for a new higher high. Of course, on the daily, 3-day, etc., you are still down, but locally your trend is switching up. But for now we're in a POI zone and we are just ranging a bit, sideways price action. Maybe we can get some sort of accumulation in this range. But for now that's not the case, so I'm not touching this because I don't want to long ride here against this whole downtrend that we have put in on a higher time frame, and we still have all these lows below here. So I'm gonna wait for confirmations with a local accumulation or a gain of a high. Right now I'm not touching MicroStrategies. Microsoft, I saw after this 50-minute gain and to tap into the breaker block, we got a big push up, and today is no different. I talked about this bottom a couple of times. We got a first move up here after we took out this liquidity point, getting in a lot of buyers. We also traded above this high, just a lot of people buying. We came down, aggressively taking out all those early buyers. We did the same thing right here. After taking out some more liquidity, we also tapped into a demand here. Got in new buyers, took them out as well right here with the extreme of all your trend liquidity, and we tapped into a really nice demand we had still left open. So this for me was beginning to look like a really nice bottom on Microsoft. Then we had this lower time frame high that brought us towards this low on the 15-minute. I said if we gain this, it could be possible. If you get a retest on the breaker, we can look to the rotation of this high, because on the higher time frame, this is your last high. If you draw in our structure, that brought you towards this low. So this is your high to break to confirm, pretty much confirm a rotation towards this new high over here. So maybe this is gonna bring us towards that high, and for now it's just up until proven otherwise, and we're just pretty much making picture perfect high lows and higher highs. But for a higher time frame confirmation, we will have to wait for a gain on this high, because we can also sweep it and go down even further towards all these demands and liquidity we have left on the lows, because Microsoft has blew up and grinded up a lot since it broke its all-time high. So still some interesting zones deeper to look at. Nvidia, pretty much the same thing as on Microsoft. Took out really nice liquidity of the local range, got in a lot of buyers, made a new all-time high, and from there we aggressively started taking this low. This could be a first indication we can go higher, but no, we immediately took out this local low again, and a nice liquidity point over here that brought you towards this all-time high. With that, there also was a nice demand zone left open here at this low, so a good place to bounce from on Nvidia. We also had this mid-time frame structure pool right here that I wanted to see get gained. For a confirmation, we can put in a new higher low and a new higher high. Well, we did that, so the expected order flow right now is a higher low for a new higher high. Where can we put in this higher low? This can happen on this old high. It's often a really aggressive way to the market to continue its trend, testing back old highs and continuing from there with the higher low. So this is the first really nice zone to maybe look for a long entry on Nvidia. AMD. Yeah, AMD made equals, indicating we're needing more liquidity from the lows. We thought maybe is this enough? Those equals. It wasn't. We tried, but it definitely wasn't. I pointed out that we still had a low over here with this demand below there, which would be really nice to look at. Doing something like this, taking out this liquidity and go up from there. But we had a really minor sweep of the liquidity. I don't even know if the volume was that interesting. It's loading. No, not really a big volume spike as well. So maybe the market still has to come back here, really take out this low in a better way and tap into this demand as well, because this is still a really nice PY zone. Combination with this whole support resistance zone to the left. I also pointed out this mid time frame high to gain. If we look at the structure, we still had this lower high right here that brought you towards this low. If you manage to gain this, the rotation to this high is likely. If you gain that, same for this high, etc, etc. But we didn't, we swept it, and from this liquidity sweep, we started moving down again. This can indicate that we need more liquidity from the lows. Where did we stop? Right here. Is this a relevant point for price to stop here? Of course, a lot of interaction at this level. Yeah. But I think with a sweep like that, this isn't a good low and we need to take it out once more to then maybe trade up again. If we can't, this still is really a nice zone to look at. Because right now AMD is just still down until proven otherwise. We also broke this structure to bearish right now. This structure pool, you can see we close below it. So your structure right now is bearish and you expect lower highs for lower lows until you're gonna gain a high again. Their trend switched, obviously. But right now AMD is down until proven otherwise and we still haven't had any confirmations to look up again. So I'm really looking towards this low again to take out and otherwise maybe even this point. So patience is key on AMD. Meta. Oh yeah. On Meta. This is your low to hold. Brought you towards a new high. Right now we were coming down a bit. This is a refined demand zone. You can also draw it from the left. Just a nice demand zone. And we had this structure pool, because you can also draw in your demand with this whole structure pool. I didn't, I just put in an arrow to keep my chart a bit cleaner. We tested that back and from there we broke above our internal high again. So what do you expect? A higher low for a new higher high towards new all-time highs. Where can we expect this higher low? This could be the place. Took out this low, nice liquidity sweep. Tapped into this whole gap imbalance, it's just how you want to call it. Tapped into this gap of whole nothing in the chart. So yeah, maybe this can be enough to move up on Meta again. This is a nice internal high to break. From there, we can maybe trade something like this. Retest on your old high towards new all-time highs. quickly look at what Nasdaq is doing. Just continuing on the all-time highs. Nicely protecting the lows, taking out the highs. Apple, yeah, this was the most aggressive way for me that Apple could have continued its trend. Right on these old highs, right here. We didn't even try, we closed in it once, but after that we immediately closed below, taking out some liquidity from the lows. There was still some trend liquidity left on the lows. We swept it. I said in the last live stream, it is fine if we're gonna sweep this. From there we can trade up once again. This would have been a nice entry in Apple. Small structure pull that brought you towards this low. From there you broke this, test back on this old high, and you can see the reaction from it. So yeah, it could be likely for Apple to put in a new high from here. Definitely. Wow, Tesla. I said in the last stream, with the highs we were creating, or we are gonna just push through and never take out this liquidity, because we just need more from the highs before we can take this out, or because we are creating these highs, it is waiting for an internal break and start looking towards all the trend liquidity we had left here. But this is a clear answer. Was reject this high, and if we manage to reject this high, look at the trend liquidity. Nope, we are gaining this high. Well, what could be interesting on Tesla right now? Is it gonna leave behind all this trend liquidity? I don't think so. I don't think so. Eventually, we're gonna take this out. Maybe it can even last a couple of months, but I think eventually we will have to take this out. But for now, of course, it is up until proven otherwise, and you want to trade with the momentum we have right now. So the most aggressive way to look for a local entry would be come here, maybe an internal 15-minute structure pull, test back these old highs, internal break, just a bit the same as what happened on Apple. You can see we came down, took out some liquidity from the lows, really nice internal structure, break this structure, buy at the old high, you can see you fill, and from there trade towards a new high. So that would be what I will be looking at Tesla, the old highs from the left. So let's put in an arrow and just wait for Tesla to come back here. Amazon. Yeah, Amazon was just grinding up from its demand zone after the break. Same thing. I have to skip this song, by the way. Terrible. Alright. We took out some liquidity right here, bouncing from a nice zone. And after we did this, we once again started grinding up, creating a lot of liquidity on the lows. I think, personally, if we can't manage to take out this all-time high, we are once again gonna need some more liquidity from the lows. Where could you do that? There's a nice trail over here. If you look at our structure, I would say it would be the nicest if we're gonna leave open this low, So do something like this. Take out extreme liquidity of this local trend liquidity we have been building up. Tap it to this demand and from there go up again. I can see we also broke some internal structure on the 4 hour. So it is looking like we're gonna probably play out this scenario with taking out some liquidity from the lows and from there reverse back up again. So this is my zone to watch on Amazon to look for continuation to maybe new all-time highs. But for now it is down because we broke some structure towards the downside. Let me put it in the chart as well. Of course it is internal because this trend is still just up. Baba exploded. Cage had a request on Baba in the last stream or the stream before that. I think we were at this high or just before this high. And we gained this high already, I see. Yeah, definitely. Oh yeah, we were in this supply. That was it. We were in this supply just before this high. That was it. Yeah, definitely. We were in this supply, so it was still possible that we could get a test back in here and a continuation from there. Or somewhere in here. Because this is just an internal structure pool. If you look at your bigger wave of structure, in between this low and this high, you can put in a higher low until you break above this high like we just did. So right here, when we were in this supply, we could still come back all the way towards this low and then move up because we expected our higher low in between this low and this high. So we could still come here and move up from there. But for now, I would say this scenario is out of the way because if you look at this structure, this right now is the last higher low you put in. So did this scenario, of course it is possible, you can do it, but it is not the nicest. Most aggressive way to look for a continuation on Baba right now is this old high we just gained, just like we did here, a supply, we rejected from it. When you gain it, it's gonna become a breaker block. So maybe we can do the same thing here. I would look for local confirmations at this zone. Or, of course, if Alibaba wants, it can still come back towards this zone and we can look for an entry there. So you have two POI zones right now, and that are those two breaker blocks. That is pretty much it for my stocks I always analyze in the live streams. I see there's not a lot of people tuning in. People have weekend early apparently. I'm not, even though I'm streaming for no one. I'm still doing my best, putting out some value there for people to look at. And then my work is done. I'm just gonna end the stream if nobody is gonna come in and have a chart request. Ooh, let's quickly look at Bitcoin as well. Because why not? Oh yeah, Bitcoin broke out. I was talking about these ranges. It was possible that we could get a distribution from these ranges. But I said, if we are gonna gain this because this trend is up, this is your high time frame high to gain, we can expect new higher highs and higher lows. Let me get rid of all this noise in the chart, make it a bit more clean. Well, we managed to gain this high right here. So right now the momentum is up and we want to look for trades towards the upside. Let's see if there's a supply somewhere we can still reject from. Yeah, we are in a big supply right now. Maybe we can refine it a bit. Not really. Yeah, this is just supply. Not really a way to refine it. Maybe like this. Yeah, we are in a bit of supply right now. We are leaving behind this nasty liquidity trail. One second. Oops. This music. That is better. Right, let's continue again. Yeah, there's one more thing I wanted to point out as well. I talked about this PO3 a couple of times, with the range being here. Manipulation lag. And you can maybe even pull it all the way to over here. But with your manipulation lag right here, and right now we are expanding. Expansion of your PO3 most of the times will be your old range high. And that is what we are expecting on Bitcoin right now. And definitely after this break, of course. Where could we do something like this? This is all noise, just ugly price action right here. It's not really possible to draw in a clean demand zone. You could draw in a whole box like this. If you want to refine it, maybe something like this. To look for local upside. This is of the yearly CPI. Yeah, Bitcoin would just have to form something for me right now. Because it left behind some liquidity when we got this pump up in the middle of the night. Also nice in combination with this drop off we're testing back right now. This arrow. So this is definitely a place where we could look for support. I also try to reject that right here. So it could be a place to look for continuations. Right now, not really any confirmations or something I would look at to play this continuation. So I would wait on Bitcoin right now. McDonald's. Whoa, 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 whoa. Ha! McDonald's, almost an S&P 500 chart. Wow, this is just up, up, up. Corona dump, of course, but god damn, what a steady investment piece McDonald's is. Crazy. Only a big correction on with the COVID situation, and even that recovered really nicely from this zone right here. Damn. We are ranging right now. This is really nice sideways price action on McDonald's. One second. Again, terrible music. Thank you. But McDonald's is in this range right now. Extreme liquidity. This demand has been used. Oh my. This demand has been used. We have this below there. So it looks like McDonald's can start distributing here. Let me just do it like this. More simple. And otherwise the same thing can happen at this high. That is how I would draw in McDonald's. It's also leaving behind so much nice local trend liquidity. Just preparing to dump the how would I say it nicely? We're gonna get a pretty big dump on McDonald's if we get something like this. This is just so much nice build up local liquidity. So watch this extreme liquidity point, and otherwise the range high, we can get a really nice distribution right here. Yeah, you don't have to make it more complicated. This is just it. Definitely putting that in a watch list. Alright, I'm gonna end this stream. Quick little stream of almost 40 minutes. I will see you guys in the next video, next live stream, whatever I decide to do next. And yeah, ciao.